Hey guys, it's me Jocelyn. So today I'm going to be showing you some creative transitions on Alight Motion. I thought I'd switch up my videos a little bit just because I don't do creative transitions so often, and I've been searching for some myself while editing, so I really hope this helps you guys out, and yeah, let's just get started. So for this first transition, you're going to need to add a square on top of your photos and make them fill over your photos. Now, what you want to do is you want to go on to color and fill, make sure you have the square selected, and then tap this gradient thing right here, and then slide both of your little circle lines right down the middle, just like I did. It's okay if they're not perfectly straight, it's fine. Now go on to effects and then go to blur and add on Mosaic, and it'll end up looking like this. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to split that down the middle between your two photos, or just to make sure that it covers your two photos. I just had to fix that right there, I just didn't like the way it looked. Now go on to effects, add effect, go into distortion and warp, and then select polar displacement map. Now just add two keyframes, one at the beginning and then one at the end of your clip, and change the angle to about 95 degrees or somewhere around there. And you can do any end graph you'd like. I'm just going to do a simple one. And I'm also going to go down onto my original photo, so you're not on the shape anymore, you're going to want to be on your original photo, and I'm just going to do a normal spin. So I'm going to add two keyframes, one at the beginning, one at the end, and then I'm going to spin it. And I'm still just going to do a regular end graph. So as you can see, this is what the beginning of the first transition looks like. Spinning, it's turning, whatever. Now go on to your second photo, go onto the rectangle and add on polar displacement map and select invert right here. Now just do negative 90 degrees for your first keyframe and 0 for your second, just so it's you know what I mean? It's just the opposite. Now go on to your photo underneath your second rectangle and just complete that first spin transition that you did. So for the first one, I'm going to do positive 100, and the second one I'm going to do negative. I'm sorry, I butchered that. I gotta see what it looks like now. I just gotta double check and make sure that it's the right way. Since Alight Motion's become a bit laggy lately, I just need to export and make sure that it looks right. Yeah, that looks much better than it did before. Now, as for the spectral map or pseudo color, which is what I think it's called because I'm used to it on After Effects, you're going to want to go on to effects, go into color and light, and then add on spectral map. It's at the very bottom. And go to alpha and turn that down to 0. Now add a keyframe at the beginning and then one at the end, and you can increase it as much as you'd like. I don't want the effect to be too harsh, but I do want you to know that it's there. So I'm going to change it to about 0.24. And then I'm just going to do a very subtle end graph, just like this. So this is what the transition will start out looking like. And I'm just going to go on to my second clip, and then I'm just going to add that on again. But I'm going to turn the alpha down just a little bit. I'm going to make it about maybe 0.5 for this one, for the first keyframe. Now I'm going to go to the end, add another keyframe, and turn the alpha back down to 0. And we're just going to do a bit of a faster outgraph for that. So this is the final transition. Now for this next transition, you're going to want to have a bit of a weird setup. So you're going to want to have your photo that's going to appear be on the bottom. And you're going to want to have the photo from the most previous frame on your last clip on the top. This is kind of confusing, I'm sorry. But if I was doing it in a real edit, it'd be a lot easier to show you, but unfortunately I'm not. So I'm going to try and explain it the best that I can. So basically your last clip of your last scene, you're going to want to duplicate that. And I'm going to turn the eyeball off for this just so I can see just this clip right here. I'm going to go to effects and add on wipe. And I'm going to make the start about 50%, just like this. And then I'm going to undo the eyeball on this one. I'm going to add wipe once again, but instead I'm going to make the end about 50% as well, just like this. And now what I'm going to do is right in the middle, right around here at point 25, I'm going to add a keyframe, one at the beginning and then one in the middle of the clip. And I'm going to slide it the opposite way so you can kind of see the photo opening up a little bit, just like this. And I'm just going to do an outgraph. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with this clip right here, and I'm going to end it at the same part. And I'm going to keep sliding it open until it's gone. You can adjust keyframes on this if you want. That's easier for you. So this is what it'll end up looking like for now. As you can see, it's sliding apart. And on your bottom clip, you're going to want to make sure tiles are enabled, and then go to your zoom in panel and select the little infinity sign. Now, I'm going to swipe a little bit just so I can see what my bottom photo looks like underneath. I'm going to want to slide it this way to where it's closing in on itself and it has like all these folds. You're going to want to make that your first keyframe, and then your second keyframe, you're just going to want to make it as if it was just your normal photo, just like this. I do recommend adding a keyframe of what it looked like before first. I made that mistake of not doing that, so I highly recommend it. And you can make a bouncy graph if you want. I just made a normal graph. And I'm going to go ahead and add on, well, motion blur is already added. So as you can see, this part of the transition is done. This is my favorite part. If you wanted to go a little bit more intense with it, you definitely could. I have to switch around the keyframes real quick because I messed that up. Okay, so as you can see, it's like opening up like that. And now your photo on top, that's going to come out of like just like the front of your photo. So it's going to basically go on top of this photo right here. You're going to want to go ahead and you're going to want to do a Luma Key Transition on this. Now, if you don't have Luma Key or you don't have Premium, that's completely fine. You could just do the zoom out that we're doing. So you're going to want to search up Luma Key or just add it on. And I like to go to the high category and turn it down to 0. And then I like to add a keyframe at the very beginning and the very end. And on the second one, I like to turn it all the way back up to 1.000, and then I just like to add a graph. You guys can decide if you'd like the graph fast or slow. It's just depending on what you like. And now I'm just going to go ahead and do a zoom out transition. So I'm going to add one keyframe in the zoom panel at the beginning and one at the end. And I'm going to zoom this photo in as if I can see it. I don't see it right now. That's fine. As you can see, it's kind of zooming out like this. And you could always change the speed on this if you'd like to also. And this is the final result. Now for this last transition, you're going to want to have your clip set up like this. I added on exposure to mine or for like a little flash effect. And on the second photo, you're going to want to go ahead and add on wipe. And you're going to want to make the angle 90 degrees. And I always make the feather 5 because I like the way it looks when it's kind of like soft or smoother. Now you're going to want to have start set to 100%. And you're going to want to, or you could do end. It's whatever one you prefer. If you want it to come down or up first, it's whatever one you want. I'm going to add one keyframe for start at 100% at the beginning. And then I'm going to make the start keyframe 0 at the end so it reveals the photo. Just like this. You can adjust the graph to adjust how fast the light, like the line is going to come down. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on my third clip, except I'm going to make the end this time keyframed instead of start. And now the last step is to add shadow onto your photos. This is optional. I just like the way it looks. I think shadow was already added to mine. And now the very last step is to go onto your clips and add in a zoom out and a zoom in, or you can do vice versa if you want the second clip to zoom in instead of zoom out. So you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to go onto the zoom in panel, add 2 keyframes on the second clip, one at the beginning and one at the end, and I'm going to make it zoom in just like this. Obviously you're not going to be able to see it, but it's going to end up looking something like this when it's done. I think I made that graph a little bit too fast. So as you can see, this one's zooming out. I'm going to have this third clip zoom in, just like this. So I'm going to zoom it in like this instead of zooming it outwards. And I'm going to add on an out graph, and this is the final result of that. And yeah, that was it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And comment down below any tutorial requests that you guys might have. Yeah, I love you guys. Bye.